Hi, you guys. Welcome back to another episode of A Lot of You Have Been Asking. I am so excited for today's guest. I am joined by Rachael. You might know her as Hey Sleepy Baby. I'm a sleepy baby this morning.
I'm a sleepy baby too.
Do people tell you that all the time? They're like, I'm a sleepy baby.
Yes, and people will also stop me on the street and be like, hey, sleepy baby?
Yeah,
and
right?
It's just like, sometimes I'm like, I should have thought through that name a little bit more if I knew people were going to be screaming it at me in the streets.
Can you tell me the origin of Hey Sleepy Baby and like your background into the world of like social media and content creation?
Yeah, I think a lot of people probably feel this way, that you just kind of stumble into it. So I was a teacher before.
Okay.
I taught elementary and special ed for about 10 years. And then I was on maternity leave with my second baby during COVID. And I was like, I really don't want to go back to work.
None of us did.
Let me figure out something else. So I was actually researching sleep stuff because we had just a horrible experience with my first baby. And I just stumbled into this like certification, and I thought, oh, this would be maybe a fun side hustle to just help parents with this.
And to help yourself.
And to help myself.
Yeah.
I was like, selfishly, I want to know all of this info too. And so I just kind of started using an Instagram page as a way to share what I was learning and to find clients. And then it just completely exploded, and I never had to go back to work.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And when did that happen? Was there like a certain video that like kind of popped off and went viral? It was a gradual build?
It was pretty gradual. I mean, it was pretty steadily growing in the beginning, but this was back, 2020, it was before video content was even really that big.
Yeah.
Like TikTok was kind of starting to become more popular, but I wasn't on it. So it wasn't really this viral video moment. It was just being really consistent. And I think I had tapped into something that a lot of parents just happened to be looking for at that time.
Yeah, there's so much misinformation out there and information, and just like I feel like it can be really overwhelming, especially for, I'm sure a lot of your audience is like first time moms.
Yeah, a lot of anxiety.
Don't necessarily know how to navigate this new chapter of their life.
Totally. And I think I was going through it right along with them because I had this newborn and a toddler, and we were all stuck at home, and it was just such a weird time to be a parent. And I think there was this feeling of like, okay, we're all in this together.
Yeah.
It really became kind of a community beyond just it. I never looked at it as like, this is the Rachael show. It was, this is our community where we can find support for each other.
Yeah, and that's such a good way to look at it, because I feel like a lot of times nowadays people want to become a creator for the financial part, the infamy part, whatever it is. So it's always good to hear that like this started from a place of education, and a place of community, because it's not always the case.
No, it's not. But you always have to think when you're a content creator, like this, maybe it's a little bit about me, but it has to ultimately serve the people that are watching you.
And add value in some way, shape,
You have
or
to
form.
add value, or nobody's going to stop and want to follow your page.
Yeah.
And I still believe that today, even though content creation has gotten so different since when I first started.
Yeah, I was going to ask that. It's a really good segue, because from where you started to now, how have things changed? You've obviously added another child to the mix.
Yes. So now I have 3. And we're done. But so now I have 3. My husband actually became a stay-at-home dad, which was like a huge, huge blessing that we were able to do in the last year and a half.
That's amazing.
Family life has shifted a lot, which has allowed me more time to work. So just new opportunities that have popped up that I would have never been able to do before, like podcasting, I'm writing a book right now. That stuff has all been so nice. But the content really for me hasn't changed that much, mostly because I'm kind of just stuck in my ways, and I'm like a boomer. I'm like, I don't want to learn how to do these new videos.
I know, it's hard with all the TikTok trends out there. It's like we got to keep up, and I'm like, I can't move like that. I can't.
It's exhausting.
It really is, and you have to keep
exhausting.
up with like every new trend, and
Yes.
it's really way too much.
It's too much.
I feel like I started following you because like I'm probably not your target demographic at all.
By the way, when I saw that notification pop through, I screamed.
I'm like fully not your target demo at all. Like don't have children, but I do have nephews. I have a niece, and I feel like I discovered your content. I want to say it was like a reshare of somebody I follow.
Okay.
And like they like either reposted or put one of your posts on your story, and I was like, oh, this looks like informational, educational. And then I saw a follow back and I was like, oh, I need to follow back. She's already one of my girls.
Very long time. Very long time. I think I first found you on TikTok probably because I don't create a lot of content on TikTok. I'm much
more of a consumer.
Yes, but I love scrolling TikTok so much more than Instagram. So yeah, I found you on there and just thought you were hilarious. And then saw you were an East Coast boy.
Yeah, well, you know.
Yes.
You know how we do up here.
Yes. Northeast.
But I love how, like you said, one of the pillars of your content is like the educational component.
Yeah.
What would you say is like the hardest part about sharing that type of content online?
Yeah, I think, well, one is you want to always make sure that you're sharing true information.
Not everyone does, but you do.
Not everyone does. So when you are doing that, there is a lot of time and effort that goes into research and making sure that everything you're sharing is legitimate. But I think beyond that, the hardest thing is just the nature of social media is that rage bait is what kind of like goes viral. So you almost feel sometimes like you have to play into this really dramatic and polarizing language just to get your content out there and so that parents can see it. So I try not to do that, but sometimes it is really hard to just share an educational video and then have no one see it because it's not, that like type of hook that's going to make people want to fight in the comments. But then beyond that, I think also there's just so much nuance to so much of this stuff. Like with parenting in particular, there is no one right way. There's no one like blanket piece of advice or solution that's going to work for everybody. And all of that nuance is just so hard to get across in like a 1-minute video or less. So then you get people that are mad at you that you didn't say this, this, and this, and give all these disclaimers. And it's like, I'm trying my best, but this is why I have other resources. I have a blog, I have courses, all that kind of stuff that can be more of a deep dive, but people don't want to go looking for that stuff.
They don't. They need it all to be in one place. They need to know everything.
They want it. They want it at their fingertips. So that can be kind of tough and frustrating sometimes.
And also, I think too, like I talked about this on a few episodes ago, but people love to critique mothers on the internet. It's kind of like a thing that people, men, women, everybody, like it's crazy. Yeah. So opening yourself up to that, how do you do? Are you naturally a thick-skinned person? Have you had to learn like how to navigate that? What's that look like for you?
Well, I was just arguing with somebody on my way here in my comments.
As you should. Always clap back.
Oh my God, I have such a hard time. So I'm an eldest daughter, and so growing up, my parents were like, "You're going to be a lawyer someday. Like you just love to argue." So sometimes that is really hard for me to rein back because it's not a good look to be arguing with people.
Okay.
Right?
I get that.
I mean, sometimes I'm like, okay, Rachel, you need to just stay neutral. They can say whatever they want. I would say I have developed a thicker skin, but I would be lying if I said that certain comments and DMs that I get don't like really sting or really knock me off kilter. And sometimes it's for days where I'm like, I'm constantly thinking about a comment or replaying what I should have said back or what am I doing wrong? Like, why didn't this land the right way? Why are people misunderstanding me? I think that's really hard for me is when I feel misunderstood.
And you also always think about the negative stuff way more than you do the positive stuff, which I have to rewire my brain like a million times a day to like be like, okay, there for every 100 positive comments, maybe there's 1 or 2 negative ones.
I don't remember.
But I always harbor onto I'm like, what are the negative ones? Like, I think that sticks at my core.
Yes, I think we all do that, and it's so unfortunate. I actually have a friend who's a content creator too, and she keeps a folder in her phone of like happy, nice messages, and I keep telling myself I need to do this, but then I'm like, but I'm never going to go back and look at those. I only want to go back and look at the negative, mean ones over and over and over again and like ruminate.
I want to look at the trolls and make sure their lives are horrible.
It's so sick. It's so sick. No, but I mean, especially like as I've gotten bigger and I am very vocal about my values and things that I believe in, and that doesn't always
rub people the right way sometimes.
No. So there are certain things where like, if I'm advocating for human rights and somebody says something back to me, I'm like, girl, bye. Like
we don't have time to discuss
No, you
this.
cannot ruffle my feathers when it comes to something like that. But if you're going to comment on something I'm doing with parenting, like with my kids, it's so personal.
Oh, completely.
And so that's different. So it depends on the comment.
Yeah,
too.
and there are some things that you can like, people can comment on it without being aggressive or attacking you in nature. Like some of these things that you're talking about are opinion-based things versus like a fact is going to change the way that you reply to things. Do you find talking about parenting on the internet that there are just like so many opinions coming at you all the time?
Yes. And especially for some reason, and parents that are listening probably know this, but for some reason, sleep is one of the most polarizing topics within parenting. So
in what way? Like, tell me about it.
So
as someone who's not yet a parent, I'm just a dog parent, but I need to learn these things.
Dog parent. I was a dog parent before too. And I was like, this thing is my whole life. Like, I can't even imagine ever loving anything more than my dog. So I totally.
And then you do.
And then you do. It's wild. No, so I totally get that. But yeah, so there's all these different ways of approaching sleep. There's sleep training, which is like a whole thing and a whole industry. And then there's the more attachment style parenting, like co-sleeping, all of that. And then there's like
contact naps.
Yes. And then there's a lot in between, right? And I'm kind of more in the in between. Like, I don't advocate for sleep training, but I also don't think every parent needs to have their kid in their bed if they don't want that.
Yeah,
right?
It's more of a personalized experience.
Totally. So there's lots in between, and that's kind of what I try to share, because when I became a parent, it was just very, you have to put the baby in the crib, they have to cry it out, they have to learn, like that's the only way.
Yep.
So I'm just trying to provide other options for people, right? And a lot of people don't like that. Because I think a lot of times parenting just feels so hard, and parents want to be told that there's one right thing, and there's one right way, and there's one quick fix solution.
But again, it's so much more nuanced.
It's so much more, and people don't like that.
Yeah. They like the black and white of it all.
Exactly.
Oh my goodness. So I'm sure there are times when you share something that you're doing personally, and people are just like, you're doing it wrong.
Oh, yeah. And it could be the most innocuous thing. I think I shared something recently about how, because there's this trend with gentle parenting sometimes where accounts will tell, and I actually do believe in gentle parenting at its core, but sometimes accounts will say things that are a little too much. They'll be like, oh, your kids don't need to learn how to share. Like, if somebody wants their toy, they're allowed to say no, and they don't have to share it. And so I said something recently where I was like, actually, I have 3 kids and they have to share.
Yeah, right.
Like, we are talking to them about sharing constantly.
Yeah.
And I think that's fine. And oh my God.
People were not happy with that.
People were not happy. It's like, I mean, you know what it's like to be an influencer or a content creator or just putting your life out there on the internet. Sometimes the most innocuous, small, minor things set people off.
Are the things that light a fire under
and you
people.
were just not ready for it.
No.
It's like, wow, I didn't think this was so controversial, but okay.
Speaking of controversial, do you have any controversial opinions in the social media world about like content creators, about parenting online? What is some of your things that you stand by?
Yeah, I think this is something that I'm not trying to judge because we all have our own journeys with this, but something that I have really started to pull back on is sharing my kids. So I don't really
I think that's a trend
share
for a lot of people.
Yeah, so I don't really share photos of them anymore, like their faces. And I feel like I used to share a lot more about what I was dealing with them. So if they would have something hard happen at school, I might talk about it. Or if we were having like a really big behavior issue, I would talk about it. And I think it was always coming from a place of me just wanting to help other people know, hey, you're not alone. We're dealing with this too.
Kids are going through all these different things.
Here's how we handled it, and it really helped. Like, hope it works for you too. And so it was always coming from that place. And I think most moms, especially that create content, are really just trying to connect with each other and help each other. But I have shifted things recently because I'm kind of thinking, well, my kid is old enough to read now. He's at school. My daughter's at school now. They're surrounded by people that do follow me and see that. And I feel like it's
fine line.
Yeah, it's kind of an invasion of privacy at a certain point. And I think a lot of parents really overshare what's going on with their kids.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, it's also kind of hard not to when it is your reality and it's your livelihood and it's your job that you've been doing for so long. I mean, I feel like a lot of people, come to fame, for lack of a better word, online before they have kids, and then their life transitions as they have kids. So they have to, like, again, rework your brain to be like, okay, maybe these aren't the things I should be sharing. Like, maybe I don't need to talk about my child's potty training or things going on with them at school. So it is kind of like a rewiring of sorts.
It is, because you get used
for a lot of creators.
Yeah, because you get used to just sharing every little thing, and you're also, I mean, it's like a drug, right? It's like your brain is constantly seeking that hit. And when...
You're chasing the algorithm.
Yeah. And when you get that video that pops off or when you get tons of engagement in your DMs, it's like addicting.
Oh, totally.
So I empathize. I get it. And I used to be that way too. But I just think as a society, we need to kind of start pulling back and protecting kids a little more.
Yeah. I mean, you see things from Netflix documentaries to,
I know.
you know, all of these stories to lawsuits. I read too, like in California, there's a law that like a certain percentage of your earnings, if your kid is in a certain percentage of your content, which I think is a great thing.
It's great. Yeah. We set up my kids are on my payroll.
Good. That's awesome.
Yeah. For the last couple of years, even though again, I don't really share them that much, but like I do reference them. And so my accountant was like, yeah, that counts. Like, let's put them on the payroll.
Totally.
So, yeah, I think that's a really good thing. A lot of influencers I heard actually moved out of California.
No, literally.
When that happened.
Which is such an interesting thing for that to be what moves you.
Such a red flag. Like, oh my God.
Completely a red flag. I have seen a lot of people online making that journey.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, that's a choice.
Interesting. Okay. we see you.
I want to talk a little bit about sleep training because you did mention that. And I think a lot of people who are listening might find your advice helpful, having done it 3 times, gone through with your version of a sleep training.
Right.
What were each of your children's journeys with that? And like, how did they differ from each other? Because I feel like a lot of people are like you said earlier, sleep training is the only way to go.
Yeah.
But there's so much more that you can do.
Yeah. So, yeah, like I mentioned, we did use a sleep training class. That was what was recommended to us through our pediatrician. This was 8 years ago. So my, social media was so different then. There weren't a million parenting accounts or experts that you could look to. So really that was kind of what you did. I was in a mom's group and they were all doing it. So I was just kind of like, okay, I guess this is how it goes. My parents were like, yeah, I think we let you cry it out for a while when you were a kid. Like, you're fine. So it sounded like a good idea. We were exhausted.
Yeah.
I mean, they give you all these promises when you buy these classes, like, oh yeah, 3 tough nights of crying and then you'll have a good sleeper for life.
And then you'll be good forever.
Oh my God, it's so ridiculous. So we tried it and it was just, it was traumatic. Like, it was really, really hard. My son is a very sensitive kid, which of course at the time we didn't really realize.
Yeah.
Because he was like a blob. So yeah, we just didn't know what we didn't know. And it felt terrible. My husband hated it. He's also very sensitive. So we,
that would be me.
Yeah, it was so hard. And it also didn't work. Like, if it would, a lot of parents talk about it like, yeah, it's really tough. And then it works. That's one thing. For us, it was like, it's really, really hard, and we're seeing absolutely zero progress.
So we kind of have to pivot in some way, shape, or form.
So let's wrap it up and talk about something else. But then it was so interesting because it was a couple weeks before his first birthday, and he just started sleeping through the night by himself. Like, we put him down for bed like usual. I was expecting to get up and feed him, and he just didn't wake up until the next morning. And he has slept through the night every night since then.
That's crazy.
It was
You're like,
wild.
After all of the things we did, this is what did it?
I know. It was so wild. And I was like, wait a minute. So they will learn to just sleep through the night on their own eventually if we don't change anything? Like, how? Okay. So that just really rewired my brain because I was like, okay, there's got to be a different solution then.
Yeah, and there's no one size fits all.
Exactly. So I was like, okay, so we're going to be doing things totally different for baby number 2. And like I mentioned at the beginning, that's kind of what started my journey into this world, was when I was pregnant and postpartum with my second. And she was a totally different baby. And I think when you have a second or a third, you just have this different perspective where it's like, okay, maybe we're tired. Maybe they're up a few times a night still, but this doesn't last forever.
Yeah, you know that there's a light at the end of the tunnel.
Exactly. And with your first, you just cannot see that. You think, oh my gosh, this is so hard. I'm so tired. This is going to be what it's like forever. I ruined my life. What did I do? And those feelings are also common, but you just, again, you can't have that perspective until you are through it. And if you have another child, you get it even more, that their temperament is so different, even if they have the same genes, the same parenting style. Like, they are just they're all born so different.
Yeah, you also have to think, like, I think of my family, like, I'm the youngest of 4. All 4 of us are literally so completely different from each other.
Exactly.
It's the same thing applies to your children and the way that they're going to grow up too.
Exactly. So yeah. So, and then with my second, it was also COVID. I didn't have to go anywhere. Didn't have to do anything. So she just slept like on me. I wore her in a carrier. We co-slept when she had hard nights, but I would still put her in her crib when I wanted to. So we were just a lot more flexible about it. And we just kind of were like, we're just going to go at her pace. And she started sleeping through the night when she was around 2. And my third is 3, and she still comes to our bed most nights, but we love it because it's like, this is our last baby.
Yeah.
And so we're like, you can come into our bed as long as you want. Like, we'll never kick you out. But she, she goes down in her own room, and we get adult time at night, and it's fine.
Do you find that that's a common theme with like last children or youngest children?
Probably, because I'm also one of 3, and my sister's going to kill me for saying this, but she...
Sorry, sis.
Sorry, Nat. She was in my parents' room for into grade school. Yeah.
Hey,
yeah.
Whatever floats your boat.
Well, and that's the thing. It's so funny. It's like, okay, my parents sleep trained me. They had me cry it out when I was like 6 months old, and her just like, she got to have the princess treatment in my mom's bed till she felt like leaving. So
also, like, what is like the history behind like
sleep training?
Sleep training.
Oh,
is there like a historical
yes, there is.
context to it?
Yes,
I'm
there
sure
is.
you're the right person to ask.
I'm literally writing a book, and an entire chapter is about that.
Okay. Well, don't give away too much, but give us the spark notes.
I do talk a lot about it on my page, and I have blog posts too if you like really can't wait. But it's steeped in patriarchy. Shocker.
Yeah, as most things are.
As most things are. Capitalism.
Yeah, as most things are.
Yes. So it got really popular around, it first kind of started to get traction in the Industrial Revolution.
Okay.
When people were going back to work. And then, at other points in history when different things were happening with women. But yeah, so then in the 80s, there were a bunch of male doctors that started to popularize it as well. It's always come from white male doctors, basically.
That's so interesting.
Yeah,
I mean, it makes sense when you look at the history of our country.
Yeah.
But even something as far removed from that as this has implications on that.
Of course. Well, and it's so interesting because for part of my book research, I'm traveling around. And so I was in Denmark, and we're going to be going to Japan, and I'm doing all these interviews with moms from all over the world. Last week, I talked to a few moms in South Africa and Kenya.
That's so cool.
And different parts of Europe.
Yeah.
And it's so fun. It's so cool. And this is the other thing that I think we don't think about here necessarily. We have this very like individualistic mindset here in the States, and we think it's all about us. But really, it's not.
Yeah.
And people in other cultures do things really differently. Like sleep training is really not this big of a thing in most other cultures. And part of that is we have awful maternity leave. So parents feel really pressured to get their babies to sleep through the night as soon as possible. Yeah. And it's also just, again, it's our culture. It's
the hustle culture of it all.
It's the hustle culture. It's let's do this efficiently. Let's have a hack. Let's like get this done as quickly as possible. Independence above anything else. Like we're not community oriented. And so, yeah, it's all of that.
Yeah, it's so interesting because when you talked about, I just know this from like the TikTok perspective of like, in like Denmark, they like leave their babies on the street while they sleep and are like going into restaurants because there's that community aspect that is missing here.
And there's
you would never do that.
No.
Here.
And there's the trust. And I asked them, I was like, aren't you guys worried that somebody's going to take your baby? They were like, who would want to take a baby?
Yeah, truly.
They were like, they might steal an empty stroller to try to sell it, but nobody wants a baby.
No, truly. That's
like,
insane.
Fair enough.
What are some red flags you see online with people sharing parenting advice, sleeping advice, things like that? We have an audience right now.
So many things. Oh, hi. He probably thinks we're so famous.
No, truly. Sometimes this happens, and it's like... For those of you that are on audio only, we are being watched in the studio right now.
He's giving us a lot of thumbs up.
I love it. That's a good little break.
I love the support. Okay, so biggest red flags I would say would be any fear-mongering type marketing. So making parents afraid that they will have a certain outcome
if they don't do it this way.
If they don't do it your way, right? So that language can be really damaging.
For sure.
Also, just any like blanket statements, one size fits all. This is how all kids are. This is how all kids should be. Anything that sounds just really inflexible and really black and white, I would say, let's dig into this a little more.
And make it a little bit more personalized to the people.
Yeah. And again, like I understand people putting out that type of content because it is the stuff that will take off.
Yeah.
So I understand it, but I do think when we're talking to a population that is so vulnerable, like new parents, we really do have to be careful.
Especially new mothers. There's such a relationship between new mothers and their mental health.
Oh my gosh.
And
yes.
Obviously lack of sleep impedes on that.
Everything.
No,
yeah.
truly.
Yep.
Like what is your advice to new parents that are dealing with mental health struggles or the postpartum anxiety of it all when it relates to sleep?
Such a good question. I'm so glad you asked about this. I think that first, it's important to just know the signs and to share those signs with your partner.
Yep.
So if anybody's listening that doesn't have a baby yet, or that's pregnant or thinking about it, or maybe you've already had one, but you're going to have a second, whatever it is, when you're in that kind of planning for baby phase, look up the signs of postpartum anxiety or depression, or postpartum OCD. There's all different postpartum mood disorders, and share those with your partner and have your partner look at them too, because non-birthing partners can also become anxious and depressed after the birth of a baby, and they're often forgotten about.
It's also not like the person who's suffering, it's not just their problem.
Right.
It's a family issue.
Exactly.
And I think a lot of people don't realize that.
Exactly. And I think a lot of times, speaking as someone who did have postpartum anxiety and depression, you can't see it in yourself. And even if you can see it in yourself, you're like, there's this mentality of just pushing through and just waiting.
This is normal.
This is normal. I'm just tired. This is just what it's like to be a new mom. And you don't have to suffer. There are supports available. One really great resource is called postpartuminternational.net. And they have screening tools. They have free groups you can join. They can connect you with local therapists. So they're a really great one to just become familiar with.
Yeah, that's not, I mean, I feel like people are now, I think with the rise of social media and like the rise of women being able to stay at home and take care of their families are now starting to talk about these things, which I think is super important. Like you said, so much is rooted in patriarchy, including all of this stuff.
Yeah, so we're told that we should just be able to suck it up, and nobody asks us how we're doing after the baby. Yeah,
and they give you horrible maternity leave.
None. Yeah. So, I mean, it's no wonder. I saw this quote recently that was like, postpartum depression is actually a really reasonable reaction to becoming a mom in this country. Like, of course, we're so isolated.
Yeah.
We don't have support. We don't feel supported. And, you know, there's all this stress and unrest just in the general society right now that, like, it's no wonder.
What are you talking about?
Oh, God. It's no wonder. But that doesn't mean you have to suffer.
And there is such a connection between, like, infant sleep and maternal mental health. Like, that is very much.
Oh, yeah. They're very closely linked.
Yeah.
I mean, if your baby's not sleeping and you're feeling like a failure because they're not sleeping, or you're feeling pressure to fix their sleep, and then on top of all of that, you're also just exhausted.
Yeah.
And you're doing it all yourself. Like, of course, that's going to exacerbate any mental health.
And there's the rise of like the comparison game.
Yes.
When you're like looking at your friends or you're following people online who probably aren't even telling the truth about the struggles that they're going through sometimes.
Hello. Yep.
About like, oh yeah, my baby's sleeping through the night already. Like, it was born yesterday. Like that type of thing. Like, there's such this comparison online, and it does need to be deconstructed a little bit.
Yes, for sure. I know those are so frustrating too, because, and I never want to be that person that's like, oh, just wait. But when you see a newborn sleeping through the night, it rarely lasts.
Yeah.
So just keep that in mind too.
I kind of want to talk about the behind the scenes of content creation with you, because I think not a lot of people like know the inner workings of it. What is something that you struggle with in the world of content? Planning.
So I've worked now with a few different people on content creation. I've always been the only one who does it. I feel really strongly about creating my own stuff, but I have had people who have come in and tried to help me like organize or create systems or things like that. And I have a wonderful business manager that tries to keep me on track. But one thing that I have just never been able to commit to is a content calendar. Do people do that? Do you do that?
I try not to. I try to like keep it as in real time
like
as possible.
Fresh.
Yeah. And like current as much as it can be.
Right.
But it's definitely, I understand why people do. It's hard.
It's hard. It's hard to come up with a new idea every day. And yet I still prefer that than mapping out a whole month. I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to want to talk about. Like, what if a housewife says something crazy and I want to use that that audio as a trend? Like, I can't just pigeonhole myself.
Yeah.
So I think the planning is definitely what I have the hardest time with.
Yeah. And what do you find the most like fulfilling part of sharing content online is?
I think just reaching parents that are in that vulnerable state that I was in and providing them with the information and the empowerment that I wish that I had gotten when I was a first-time mom. And we were talking before about like the haters and the trolls and stuff like that. And it is really easy to focus on them. But I also get messages every single day from people saying like, you have literally changed my life.
Yeah.
Thank you. Like,
that's
just
such an amazing like anecdote.
Which is just incredible. Like I feel so lucky, and I do get to meet people in person a lot of times, and sometimes they'll be like crying. And my husband will just be like, oh my God.
But it's also such an emotional thing. Like,
exactly.
You're like
so
helping
sensitive.
them in such a personal way because it's with their babies.
Yeah.
So it's so rewarding.
Yeah.
And
so
that's cool.
That's definitely the best part, is just knowing that I'm like making even a small difference for some people out there.
Yeah. What is one thing that you've learned about this like industry since coming into it that like really shook you?
I guess just that you don't actually need to be legitimate to have a massive following.
That's so true.
I found this account yesterday or the day before. It has 400-something thousand followers, and it's literally just AI. And nobody is clocking that every single slide is written by ChatGPT. It has just like the very classic signs. And I'm just like, wow. Nobody's questioning.
Nobody's clocking it.
This at all. It's really scary.
That is really crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, the rise of, you're seeing it in every industry, the rise of like AI actors and AI influencers. It's kind of crazy.
It scares me. And that, speaking about like feeling like a boomer, that is one thing where I'm like, nope, I'm not going to learn it.
No,
not
truly.
Gonna do it.
That is so valid. I was talking with my fiance about that. I was like, I'm just like, not gonna learn about AI, and like that's what my parents feel about like the iPhone when they're trying to like update their iPhone and it's taking them like 30 hours. Like that's how I'm gonna feel about AI with our children.
Totally. I feel like my mom, because she used to go to the Apple store to like learn how to use Word.
Oh,
and they're
like
yes, and they're like, that's not our product.
Yeah,
you need to go to Microsoft. But they just felt so bad for her. They would sit and help her, and that's how I feel with AI.
Yeah, it's scary out there.
Yeah.
What is next for Hey Sleepy Baby? I know you mentioned a book.
Yeah, that's kind of my big focus right now. So I'm writing the book. I just started a new podcast with my friend Caitlin that's super fun. I feel like after all these years, I've been doing this now for almost 6 years, and I talk about mom stuff and baby stuff and educational content all day, every day. And I love it.
Yeah.
But I also felt like I needed this outlet to just be Rachael, like not Hey Sleepy Baby, not necessarily even a mom, but just to kind of chit chat. And so we started this podcast called You're So Right. And it's just super fun and gives me such a nice,
I love that.
other outlet.
Creative outlet.
Yeah.
Outside of the
mom stuff.
Childhood and mom, all that stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah, which I feel like everybody needs those passion projects.
Everybody does.
Yeah, I think it's so important because a lot of times people will pigeonhole themselves into just motherhood or parenthood or one thing.
Right.
And it's so important to be fulfilled in all different ways.
Right. Otherwise you'll get burnt out and you won't want to do it anymore. And I don't ever want to quit because I'm bored with it. Right. So, yeah.
So what's the book going to be about? Do we have any ideas? Can you give us any teaser?
Yes. I have I was working on it on the plane. I think I have 20,000 words.
More than I could ever write.
But it has to be like 60 to 80. So I really need to get going.
Yeah.
So it's going to be all about how we approach sleep in North America and how we could be learning from other cultures and societies and from our own human history.
Yeah.
So that we can just kind of gain some perspective and think about the fact that what we're doing in the U.S. is probably not working so well. And what can we learn from other cultures? How can we do things differently so that parents can actually enjoy the baby years and enjoy that phase of their life instead of stressing so much.
Being so bogged down by like the sleep through the night situation.
Exactly. And feeling all that pressure and feeling all that shame. So.
Wow, that's cool. And it applies to a lot of everything else that's going on in the world right now.
It really does. I know. I'm writing it and I'm like, this needs to probably get pushed to the next administration or it's going to get banned.
Ain't that the truth?
Because, yeah.
And where can listeners like follow you and listen to all of your advice across social platforms?
Sure. So I'm on Instagram at Hey Sleepy Baby. I'm on TikTok, kind of, at Rachael Shepard-Ohta. And then my website's just Hey Sleepy Baby. And that has
I'll
all
link
the
it all in the episode description.
Perfect.
And my two last questions that I always ask guests. What is your influencer ick?
Oh. I feel like I don't have a classic one because I know a lot of people say like when you're eating, I don't mind that. I love to see what you're eating. Show it to me.
Mine is usually like couples pranks.
Oh, couples pranks. Well, they're always so staged.
Yeah, they're really bad.
They're always so staged. I think actually, and it's funny because my husband actually just started an Instagram account. So we have done a little bit of couple stuff, but not to a nauseating degree. And I think I actually would say the couples videos that are just very scripted and staged irritate me.
Yeah, they give me the ick too.
Yeah, okay, good.
I totally see that.
Okay.
And then what do you hope, I have a feeling I'll know what your answer is going to be, but what do you want your social media legacy to be? Somebody that like 10 years, 15 years, 20 years down the road, what do you hope your legacy is online?
Oh, that's such a good question. I think just that I created a community of parents to feel supported and seen.
I think that's the perfect explanation. That wraps you up.
Thank you.
In a little bow.
Thank you.
I love it. It was so nice chatting with you.
You too.
And make sure you guys go follow Rachael online. Make sure you get her book when it comes out. I'll make sure to be posting about that because I'll probably be. When will it come out, do you think?
So the tentative date is February 2027.
Oh my God. Maybe I'll be in like my about to have a kid era. Because that like lines up pretty well.
Oh my
with
God,
that.
that's so exciting. Well,
I'll be the first shopper.
I'll give you like the concierge sleep support service.
Oh, I'm gonna need all that. Please, my sleep is my safe space. So we're gonna need to keep up on that.
It's so hard. Having a dog is good practice.
Yes, it is. That's what people tell me all the time. They're like, having a dog is very good practice for like the next steps, shared responsibilities, all of that.
That's what it is. It doesn't necessarily make you prepared for a baby because nothing could, but it makes you prepared to like care about something besides yourself. Yeah. And that's important.
I'm like so self-centered. Like I needed this to be like the stepping stone for having children.
Perfect.
So thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it. Bye guys. I'll see you next week.
Bye.